Hello, friend. Welcome back. Hopefully, you are coming to this video after having watched our Mount Rushmore of Bagels. If you have not, go back and watch that video before watching this.
It's delicious.
In this video, our goal is to talk about some of our reasoning about the things we left off, and what those things that we left off, what those bagels we left off, could possibly do to enter into the Mount Rushmore. What was it that was holding them back? What was it that didn't allow them to enter into the pantheon?
The pantheon? You and your
of the
Greek,
Mount Rushmore.
Man. You and your Greek.
I'm part Greek. Of the Mount Rushmore of bagels. So, I think, in my opinion, the most memorable snub, or the most notable snub we had, was probably that neither of us chose the whole grain bagel.
Okay, I didn't have it. I didn't even consider that one.
I did. My reasoning to take it away is we talked about the categories, and we already had the plain covered. And in my mind, you may have heard this before, but here is my plea to you bagel makers. In my opinion, you basically have two bagel bases. Really, you have three. But you have plain, you have whole grain, and then you have egg, which, by the way, egg bagels are the just greatest. If you haven't had an egg bagel, they're fantastic.
That sounds good.
It's so good. It's hard to explain, but it's so good. But anyway, those are like the three bases, right? Because really, most of the other bagels are like plain, like an everything bagel is a plain bagel with stuff on top. A blueberry bagel is basically a plain bagel with blueberries in it.
Yeah.
Right? So why don't you do that with the whole grain? I want the hardiness of the whole grain, but don't put those stupid little grains on the top. Put the everything stuff on the top of a whole grain bagel. Okay. That's what I want, bagel makers. Make it happen. Please.
I wonder if somebody already did that.
Somebody has to have done that, but I've never seen it. Yeah, it must be just that pretentious bagel places. Panera.
Probably a little mom
Take my idea.
Shop in Portland somewhere.
Yeah.
They have. They must have.
Oh,
they have everything there.
Yeah, they have to. But like, it just feels like an obvious miss that they have.
Whole grain. It's a good idea.
Yeah. So whole grain was my big biggest snub in my opinion, and I considered not having blueberry for whole grain mostly because I was surprised by. I mentioned the 4 different places, so Lender's, and then the 3 main restaurants that sell bagels. Blueberry only had 2, but all 4 have whole grain, or one of them calls it like 12 grain, and one of them calls it like whole wheat or something. But it's all the same thing. It's all whole grain.
Yeah.
Stop giving it fancy titles. Choose a name. Decide. Learn about commitment.
Well, they want to be unique and different.
There's nothing new under the sun. Got him.
So, in my very extensive list of snubs, which has only one, and again, I'm learning about bagels with this one.
Sure. Yeah.
I have the cheese bagel.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
I thought from all the bagels, I think that's the one that I like the most.
Are you talking about specifically the Asiago bagel, which is a very common type of cheese?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it the one that is like a little, like,
it's
if
like
you burn it and then you get like...
Yep.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And I didn't have it in the 4 because even though it's probably the one that I pick and at work is the first one to go because everybody for some reason loves that one. I don't think that it's as ubiquitous as the other ones.
Big word.
Yeah.
You
like that?
2 can play that game. Yeah. I think so to answer the other question we're trying to answer, I think for that one, for me, what it would need to do to enter into the Mount Rushmore is that feels like it's a darling of shops, right? Like when I worked at Panera, there were like Asiago Bagel lovers, right? Like it's kind of like, it's almost like the banana flavored candy, right? Like a lot of people don't really care for them, but the people who do love them, and they're just like, just give me the banana. So it sort of feels like that kind of thing where like there are Asiago Bagel lovers out there. But the fact that like it hasn't gotten mainstream enough to like, you know, Lender's Bagels doesn't have an Asiago. Like maybe there are other reasons for that besides popularity, but I generally assume that there's some popularity reason that Lenders wouldn't have your flavor bagel because they're the biggest bagel distributor, right? So why do they not include you? It could be a complication with the whole cheese thing and with an Asiago bagel.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the nature of how you make it with the cheese on top, like wouldn't microwave well with it already pre-made. I don't know. But I think that's
maybe
something
the
you need to do for me.
The life of it, or how much longer compared to the other bagels. Maybe that's not marketable, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I'd be curious. Lenders, let us know.
Let us
totally
know.
watching this video. And for the whole grain, I feel like what needs to happen is what I said. The whole... I need to start to see whole grain stop being its own flavor and it become another base. The way that plain is like the basis that most bagels are built on. I need to see that from whole grain. Like I need to walk into a Panera, a Tim Hortons, one of those places and see everything whole grain bagels.
Mm-hmm.
Like... Instead of it being whole grain as a flavor, like, no, it's just the base. It's the bread base.
Yeah.
Is probably what I need to see to start entertaining it for the Mount Rushmore. And it's interesting to think, too, what I would take off. I feel like what I would take off of our Mount Rushmore, if one of these were to overtake it, a part of me says blueberry, but I feel like blueberry just keeps being on the rise.
Uh-huh.
And cinnamon raisin feels like it's died a very slow death. Because...
one is
I
going
don't
up,
see
the
them
other
as
one
much.
down.
Yeah. So something else would have to come off if these decided to actually...
So you would take, then, the cinnamon raisins out of?
I think. I'm trying to think through if either of these two were to accomplish the thing that I say they would need to accomplish for me to consider them for the Mount Rushmore, I think the other question to ask is, which one would come off? I think we've mentioned the only two snubs that are pretty significant, but other ones...
That's the only one I have, actually.
Other ones to note, I think, are the Sesame Seed, which I think with everything we sort of encapsulate that because that includes the Sesame Seed.
Yeah.
But a Sesame Seed bagel is very much its own thing at the same time. The French toast bagel, which is one of the top of the sweet bagels. Those are everywhere.
Bagel.
French toast bagels, and Lenders has it.
Okay.
Actually, back to our numbers. Of those 4 places, 3 of them have French toast, which is more than Blueberry, which had only 2 of them had, which I thought was very interesting. And then the other snub, or slight snub, I thought was chocolate chip, which is the most disappointing bagel in that somebody figure out a way to make a chocolate chip bagel toastable, because this just in. We want to toast our bagels. Make it toastable without the chocolate dripping out. The point of the bagel is the chocolate. So how about you put it in a place where it doesn't just all melt out? Because when I get a chocolate chip bagel,
where do they put the chocolate chip?
Everywhere. In the dough. It's like all in the dough. But it feels like they all come to the surface. So when you toast them, right? So you're toasting the 2 slices, it just melts out. So you have like these little holes that like they're like craters where chocolate used to be. They're like craters where chocolate used to be.
Craters?
Yeah. And they still have some chocolate in there. But it's a...
Man, I don't think they'll fix that. That's too much science to fix that.
Just...
Bagel people, I don't know.
Yeah, bagel people. I think what you'd have to do is, like, take, I don't know, a chocolate bar. Like, when you're making the donut thing, find a way to make it in 2 pieces, chocolate bar in the middle, or something.
Bagel people,
bagel humans.
listen to Joseph's idea.
Yes. I have many brilliant ideas, solving all the world's problems, one at a time. Yeah. Any more snubs?
That was, well, I consider it, but I don't know. Jalapeno and mushrooms bagel.
What? That's a thing?
I don't know. I'm just making
I was gonna say,
man.
I will say my favorite bagel in history was Panera had a cheddar jalapeno bagel, which had so I mentioned the 3 bases, or what I perceive to be the 3 bases. There might be other ones, but the egg bagel. So it was an egg-based bagel that had cheddar and jalapenos in it.
That sounds actually good.
It was so good. And it was the first bagel they got rid of after I started working there. Yep. So that's...
Yeah, that sounds really good.
That's going to be like 2012 now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like 8 years old, and that thing was so good. Panera! Bring them back!
I hate when they do that. When there's something good, and then all of a sudden you go back and like, no, we're done.
Yep. It's because not enough people like them. So
but that's
sad.
why we like it, probably. That's part of the charm of the whatever thing.
Yeah, and sometimes just people are too busy eating their plain bagels and all the other bagels they're used to. Yeah, expand your horizons,
something
people.
new. It'll be good for you.
You all disappoint me.
Yeah.
Do you agree with our snubs? Do you think, yeah, you did snub those things? But do you also agree with us that, well, those snubs...
They're not good enough.
Weren't good enough. They weren't good enough to make the cut. Let us know in the comments. Let us know if you like this snubs video concept. Let us know if you like the idea of us discussing what something could do to make it into the Mount Rushmore. Does it interest you? Does it not? I don't know. So drop a like, subscribe, and then be sure to hit that notification bell if you want to see when we have new videos coming out, which we have our main Mount Rushmore series coming out every single Thursday. We'll see you next time.
Drop it like it's hot.
Yes, definitely drop it like it's hot.
A hot
you
bagel.
Know what I'm saying. Oh, yeah.